Obstruction of business. We have a fourth charge of obstruction of business.
Yo, we just got a massive new update on Johnny Somali, and this one's straight up explosive. If you thought things were already bad, buckle up, because it just got way worse. After already racking up 7 criminal charges, Johnny's now been hit with another one. Yep, that's 8 charges total. And the latest addition, yet another obstruction of business charge. That means he now has 4 separate obstruction charges stacked against him. 4, just on obstruction alone. His next trial date is officially locked in for August 13th, and word on the street is that the prosecutors are coming in hard this time. They're not playing around. The evidence is mounting fast, and it's not looking good for him. Court insiders are even saying this case might be the one that finally gets him locked up for real. And here's the wild part. It doesn't matter if he pleads guilty or tries to fight it in court. Either move could blow up in his face. If he pleads guilty, he might be admitting to a pattern of behavior that lands him serious jail time. But if he pleads not guilty and loses, oh man, the sentencing could be even worse. It's a straight up lose-lose at this point. But what's really going on behind closed doors? Who's pulling the strings? And how deep does all this go? Because make no mistake, when Johnny finally gets put away, it's not just about one dude going to jail. It's about a whole system that's been waiting to make an example out of him. Johnny Somali is now neck deep in his 8th criminal case. And let's be real, this one didn't exactly catch anyone off guard. But here's the twist. This time, the charges might be heading in a dangerous new direction.
He's dug himself low, and this is all to blame for himself. If he took accountability, if he said he was sorry, if he did an apology, if he paid the people back, if he admitted his guilt, we would not be where we're at today.
Just a short while ago, he was already dealing with 3 separate obstruction of business charges. And now, that number's jumped to 4. This dude is stacking charges like it's a game, but the consequences are getting real. Before we break the whole situation down, check out this clip from Legal Mindset. He lays out the latest bombshell about Johnny Somali's freshly filed charge, and it's wild. If you dig into the details of this newest charge, it's exactly what we warned about earlier. Another obstruction of business count added to the list. That makes 4 obstruction charges alone, which is insane. And this latest one is going to be addressed at his next court hearing on August 13th. That's when we'll finally find out whether Johnny's gonna fight it or fold. But here's the deal. With how fast the charges are stacking and the pressure from the court building heavy, there's a real chance he might get cornered into pleading guilty. Dragging this out could backfire hard.
Obstruction of business. We have a 4th charge of obstruction of business that just came in, bringing it to a big number 4. And this was one that was out of left field. We weren't expecting this to come at all. And it's great news because it radically changes the chart and moves it up by far under the guideline.
And if he pushes it too far, the judge might decide to make an example out of him. But here's the part that really needs to be said. This might actually be a good sign. For the first time in a long while, the South Korean authorities are finally turning up the heat. They're no longer treating this like some low-level prankster situation. Now, they're actually building real cases, stronger, heavier, and more serious than before. Yeah, Johnny's technically still walking free right now. And sure, there's been talk that he might skate by like he always does. A lot of people were starting to believe he'd wiggle out again, just like every other time. But this time, it feels different. The energy from the authorities is way more aggressive. They're coming with real charges, not just slaps on the wrist. And that alone puts Johnny in deep water. And here's where it really gets wild. Word on the street is that this new obstruction charge might be tied to that infamous bus incident. Yeah, that one. If the reports coming out are accurate and that charge is connected to what went down on that bus, then this could be a huge turning point in the whole case. Exactly. Let's be real. Johnny's defense was never solid, but now it's looking straight up weak. Just take a look at his latest charge sheet. It's getting ridiculous. He's sitting on 4 separate obstruction of business charges. And this new one might be tied directly to that bus incident that caused a massive scene. In case you missed it, the first 3 obstruction charges were from him messing with public buses and causing chaos at Lotta World, making a whole spectacle. And get this, he didn't plead guilty to any of those. But with this 4th obstruction charge now on the table, things are getting way more serious. If he's convicted, he's looking at up to 5 years behind bars or a fine of up to 50 million Korean won. That's about 38,000 USD. And that's just the start. He's also got a list of smaller charges from dumb stunts like throwing rotting fish around in public, or blasting obnoxiously loud music on metro trains. For those, he's already pleaded guilty. And while the penalties sound lighter, they still carry up to 30 days in detention and fines reaching 100,000 won, or around 75 USD. But here's where it gets really dangerous. He's facing 2 deepfake charges involving Korean YouTubers, including one named Bong Bong. And if he's found guilty on those alone, he could be looking at 7 years in prison just for those offenses. But here's the thing, Johnny still hasn't pleaded guilty to the major charges. Not a single one. And when you step back and look at the whole picture, it's clear this dude is in way deeper than most people even realize. The charges keep stacking, the penalties are getting harsher, and his legal situation is spiraling out of control. And let's not forget, Johnny was out here bragging, acting like South Korea couldn't touch him. He really believed the legal system was too soft, too slow, or too scared to hold him accountable. He was all over the internet saying nothing would happen to him, like he was untouchable. That smug energy, it's coming back to bite hard.
This is amazing. And we're going to talk about my theory from what it is, because we don't know for sure who filed this. I have speculation, and I will speculate later. But all we know is in the official court files on 7/25, that was Friday, officially, he was indicted on a 4th count of obstruction of business.
Now, with all these new charges, that cocky attitude is crumbling fast. He seriously underestimated what he was dealing with. At this point, what can even be said? Johnny's managed to ruin any shred of credibility he had left. And worse, he's making every other YouTuber who travels abroad look bad too. Like, who thinks it's smart to taunt an entire country and then act confused when they come for you? It's honestly baffling. The way he talks, the way he moves, it makes you wonder if he's even thinking at all. Right now, everything is crashing down on Johnny Somali, and it's only making his situation way worse than it's ever been. The tide has completely turned against him, and it's not just the courts anymore. The public is done. People have had enough. Thousands have already signed a petition demanding that Johnny get the maximum sentence possible under South Korean law. This isn't just backlash. This is a full-on public movement. One of the petition comments said it all. I'm a Korean American who's lived in Japan for 15 years. Watching Johnny mock both cultures while making Americans look awful just for clout and money, he deserves the heaviest sentence possible. Another signer didn't hold back either, saying he needs to be punished hard and stopped before he does more damage. This ain't just anger anymore, it's full-blown outrage, and people are calling for real consequences. This isn't about cancel culture, this is a demand for justice. Meanwhile, things just got even more serious in court. Johnny's default charges have officially been upgraded, and the minimum aggravated sentence has been raised. Translation: he's now facing the very real possibility of even more time behind bars, longer than anyone expected at the start. But here's where it gets even messier. Behind the scenes, prosecutors are reportedly digging into Johnny's digital history, looking for patterns in his past live streams and videos. They're not just trying to punish him for 1 or 2 wild stunts. Nah, they're trying to build a timeline of consistent behavior, showing that this wasn't random, it was calculated, planned, repeated. Insiders say they've already flagged multiple clips where Johnny brags about avoiding jail, taunting Korean citizens, and even mocking the police, all while live streaming for views. This might not sound like much on its own, but in court, that's damning evidence of intent. If they can prove he did it all on purpose, to stir outrage and profit from controversy, that's when things go from reckless to criminal with a motive. And guess what? Some experts are now suggesting that Johnny's case could set a new legal precedent in South Korea for how digital harassment and international trolling are handled. If the court wants to make an example out of him, this is their chance. And here's the twist nobody saw coming. Johnny's own fans are starting to turn on him. The very same people who used to hype him up in the comments, drop donations during his streams, and cheer on his chaos are now saying they want nothing to do with him. Screenshots are surfacing from Reddit, Discord, and even his old fan pages where former supporters are calling him a disgrace, an embarrassment, and worse. Some are even saying they feel used, like Johnny tricked them into thinking it was all harmless content, when in reality he was out there disrespecting cultures and breaking laws for clicks. One ex-fan wrote, "At first it was funny, but now it's just sad. He's ruining his life and dragging all of us down with him."
Based on information that certain people on the Somali conviction team were asked, because they were asked information, or not, they actually aren't on the team, they're related to the team, they communicate with the team. Those people were asked specific questions about a bus. So we think it's highly likely it's a bus. It's a bus incident because they were asked those questions a few weeks ago. And because of the timing of those questions, it is, and the filing of this right before his next case, which, by the way, they keep doing this. They hit him with curveballs. They hit him with procedure to blindside.
And let's not forget, some of those fans donated money during his streams, thinking it was all a joke. Now they're realizing they may have helped fund real crimes, and the guilt is hitting hard. This isn't just a fall from grace, it's a complete implosion. His online support system is cracking, and without that safety net, Johnny's completely exposed. Now here's where things take an even darker turn. South Korean media outlets are picking up the story, and they're not holding back. Headlines are calling Johnny Somali a repeat offender, a foreign agitator, and even labeling him a threat to public peace. And once the local media turns up the heat like this, you already know what comes next. Public pressure on prosecutors, judges, and lawmakers to take maximum action. And trust, Korean society doesn't take public disrespect lightly. The more the media digs, the more footage they uncover. Videos of Johnny mocking elders, harassing commuters, making a scene in restaurants, it's all being compiled and broadcasted. He's not just in the legal hot seat now, he's becoming nationally infamous. Even Korean politicians are starting to speak out, demanding harsher penalties for foreigners who come to their country and break the law for internet fame. They're saying this case proves a new law might be needed to stop this kind of behavior before it becomes a pattern.
Walk me through the whole shirtless thing. The other day, I'm kind of like this. I did it as kind of like fuck you to these YouTubers and the ones that are commenting on my downfall in Korea and how I'm gonna get, the years keep going up. First they said, oh, it's 5 years, now it's 10 years, now he's gonna get 20 years, now he's gonna get 30 years. So I was like, I'm gonna show you guys how far I can push the boundaries, and I'm gonna show you that the Korean government is not gonna do anything to me because I'm an American citizen, A. And B, I don't do anything seriously violent or drug crime. The Korean legal system is not as strong as people think and perceive it to be. It's really like, if you, like, even the dude that punched me in the face and I had to go get stitches, like the other people, bro, he's let out of jail the same day. Like, there's no pre-trial detention. And I took my shirt off and I got drunk and I was like, I want to show them and make these YouTubers look so dumb. Because now the narrative is changing. Voice Critical dropped the video yesterday, 2 million views already in one day. And he's like, yo, Johnny's gonna get away with everything. At this point, like, they just keep arresting him, letting him go, arresting him, letting him go. So I just want to show them I will continue to do whatever I want as a not only to the legal system, but as a to these YouTubers. But then again, I'm giving them content. But also, I want their audiences to slowly see, yo, Johnny is not doing anything that is like.
And the craziest part, all of this could follow him for years. Immigration flags, travel bans, blacklists. Even if he avoids jail, his passport might not get him anywhere near Asia again. So with everything we've seen so far, let's just keep it real. The outlook for Johnny Somali is looking worse by the day. The idea of him walking away with just a slap on the wrist, that's out the window, especially now that thousands have signed a petition calling for the maximum punishment under South Korean law. The judge isn't just staring at legal papers anymore. They're facing major public pressure. If the court decides to go with the aggravated maximum, Johnny could be staring down a sentence of up to 12 years in prison. And even if the judge somehow goes light and hits him with the minimum, that still means 8 long years behind bars. Either way, it's not looking good. But here's the bigger question. If Johnny actually does time, do you think it'll change him? Let's be honest, this is a dude who thrives off chaos, trolling, and disrespect. Some people go to prison and reflect, but Johnny, he might just come out worse. He might even find a way to stir up trouble from behind the walls, because for him, attention is everything. So now we're turning it over to you. How long do you think Johnny Somali should be locked up for? Should he get the full 12 years or something less? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you made it this far, sound off in the comments. Should clout chasers like Johnny face harsher laws? Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you want more deep dives like this.